Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, the Premier has been accused of sending mixed messages after conceding our borders could open before December. It follows yesterday's announcement Tasmania would stay closed to the nation for at least 3 months.
Bumping elbows after breaking the bad news. Yesterday, Peter Gutwein met with hard-hit businesses after revealing our borders would stay firmly closed before December. Today, the message was slightly different.
If circumstances dramatically change on the mainland and it is safe to open up to a safe jurisdiction earlier, then obviously we would take that advice.
The Premier made a statement yesterday which was unexpected, that the borders would be closed until the 1st of December. This chopping and changing is actually causing a lot of confusion and concern for people.
The Premier insists Tasmania is working towards a December 1 reopening. It will also allow more time to prepare for potential outbreaks in aged care, following a spate of nursing home deaths in Melbourne.
And now is the time to take on board the lessons from Victoria and to ensure that in Tasmania what's occurred there doesn't occur here.
Our PPE stockpiles are also growing. 140,000 masks are on hand for health workers, and there's another staggering figure.
Today, Tasmania will pass the milestone of 80,000 tests conducted in Tasmania.
Meanwhile, Parliament descended into a shouting match over quarantine. Labor concerned one return traveller wasn't checked by authorities at her home.
When did you first become aware?
Yesterday.
Well, why didn't you bring it to our attention yesterday if you are so concerned?
We can't be everywhere at once. There are over 1,300 people currently in home quarantine. Approximately 200 have been checked in the last 24 hours. But again, the community have eyes and ears out there and they're reporting to us.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Tourism operators say a projected loss in profits in the upcoming summer season could threaten the future of a number of businesses. Yesterday's border announcement also causing a major headache for the state's agricultural sector.
December to March are the most plentiful months in the industry, but for the first time in years, fruit growers are facing slim pickings of another kind.
Up to 5,000 jobs that will be needed.
Tough restrictions on international travel, a lack of backpackers, and now a prolonged border closure, leaving many farms strapped for thousands of seasonal workers.
Well, we're obviously very nervous about the upcoming harvest seasons.
The state government today committing close to $2 million to boost local agricultural skills and help fill depleted harvest rosters.
To pick the fruit, harvest the vegetables and get it to market.
If we can't do that, well, there's going to be a lot of disappointment in our industry. There'll be a lot of crops that won't be picked.
But it's yesterday's shock border announcement that has soured lucrative summer tourism plans for some operators.
We're going to see a dramatic reduction in our mainland guests, December right through to January.
The Bristow Lavender Farm certainly isn't expecting scenes like this. The flowers will be blossoming, business won't be.
I think the big concern is actually how will we float through next season if our big numbers aren't there this time around. What does next winter look like?
It's a real threat facing a host of small businesses, but a government incentive for Tasmanians to spend local is aiming to soften the blow. Up to $100 can be used towards commercial accommodation, as well as $50 towards tourism experiences like cultural tours or cruises. Some of the state's most remote areas are hoping to become holiday hotspots.
Most of our visitors, 82% of them, come from the mainland states, so we've got a fair bit of ground to make up.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
A petition calling for voluntary assisted dying to be legalised in Tasmania has received a record-breaking number of signatures. More than 11,600 people signed the e-petition tabled in Parliament today. Among them, sisters Jackie and Natalie Gray, whose mother Diane died last year following an excruciating battle with cancer.
She, at the time, was unable to deal with the emotional effects of being told such information and living on a day-to-day basis of not knowing what was going to happen.
This is a rigorously worked bill that's looked at other jurisdictions and their experience. It has been through, last time I checked, 12 or 13 iterations of drafting.
Upper House MP Mike Gaffney will introduce his end-of-life choices bill into Parliament next week. It will be the fourth attempt to see similar legislation passed in Tasmania. A regional Tasmanian town is preparing to be thrown into the global spotlight thanks to a new Mona art installation. Work on Transformer is almost underway, a structure set to showcase the ever-changing natural environment of the Huon Valley.
This is idyllic Ida Bay, soon the site for Project X. From the brains behind Mona and Dark Lab, this is Transformer.
It's essentially a large kaleidoscope structure that you walk in and view the landscape in quite a few different directions.
The work by American artist Doug Aitken to be built in Tasmania's isolated far south. Construction's now hoped to start early next year and be finished by summer.
It'll change throughout the year, reflecting the moods and atmospheres of the Huon Valley.
The plans are to have the structure built by locals, and it's tipped to bring immense benefits for a region which has had to deal with blow after blow. The project labelled a game changer.
I mean, it's a one-off, it's unique, it's here in Tasmania. Yes, it's in the Huon Valley, which is dynamite. However, all Tasmanians are going to benefit from it.
Hoped another attraction in the Huon will keep people staying longer and spending more.
Yeah, I think it just adds to the interest of the area. Like, it's already a beautiful area, but if we can have some things for people to do while they're staying and get them to stay for a few days, it benefits everyone.
Businesses we spoke with around this area today say they'll welcome any initiative to bring people back to the region. That's particularly so after the last few months, where for many businesses, visitation plunged to almost zero.
Add to all the natural attractions we've got down here. It will obviously bring visitors down.
I think it's fantastic. Anything that can get people down in the area has got to be a good thing.
Yet another instance of the far-reaching Mona effect. Louise Huber, 7 Tasmania News.
A new study is suggesting the Tasmanian tiger wasn't such a big bad predator after all. 3D modelling based off thylacine samples from around the world indicates the tiger was much lighter and smaller than previously thought.
The Tasmanian tiger, easily distinguished by his straight, unjointed tail, is also a dangerous opponent.
But perhaps not as dangerous as first thought. New research from Monash University has scaled back the estimated weight of a thylacine from 30 kilograms to just 17.
So all in all, I managed to weigh 93 individual Tasmanian tigers.
Douglas Ravinsky did it using a 3D scanner on samples from around the world. The finding even calls into question where the marsupial would sit on the food chain.
There's this break point where if you're over 21 kilos, you're eating big things. And if you're under 21 kilos, all of a sudden that drops way down and you're eating things that are less than half your size.
Meaning they possibly ate paddy melons and quolls rather than kangaroos and sheep. Historical estimates were largely based off newspaper reports, which are now disputed.
An awful lot of them started to sound kind of like, like old fishermen's tales, like, oh, it was this big, or, oh, it tore up, I shot it and it still crunched my gun with its mouth and tore it to pieces.
Thylacine enthusiasts we spoke to say they've long suspected the animal is lighter than commonly thought. Whether they're still in the wild remains up for debate. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
It may be in new hands, but the Beaconsfield gold mine is proving it still holds old fortunes. NQ Minerals says it's found excellent quality in stockpiles at the Northern Tasmanian site. It's an average grade of 3.2 grams per tonne of gold. The mineral will now be tested to determine its potential. It has been a tough year for Tasmanian businesses, but that hasn't stopped operators giving back to those in need. A local network of tourism and hospitality workers has handed over a $4,000 cheque to help keep Louis' van on the road. Staff at the St Vincent de Paul charity say it's been busier than ever as more people struggle through the coronavirus crisis.
We've seen a lot of new people access our service, lots of temporary visa holders, international students, but also people who access our van that may have not before and they're actually coming to our van getting food to take home to their families.
They've faced unprecedented challenges this year due to COVID, and so us as a tourism industry have also faced our biggest challenges, but there are those in the community that need our support.
Louis Van operates 6 nights a week, providing food, information and support to people across Hobart. And staff at Hobart's Cat Centre are preparing to take part in their own slightly smaller version of the Tour de France. Named the Tour de 10 Lives, the cycling event will take place over 21 stages across 3 weeks, travelling throughout Sandy Bay, 7 Mile Beach and Orford. It's hoped the ride will raise much needed funds for the centre's expansion.
We're looking to raise hopefully over 30,000, and that will go a long way in just building towards the new building here. I mean, the staff here work incredibly hard under very, very archaic conditions.
The Tour de 10 Lives will kick off on August 29. Tassal is hailing investments into prawn production as driving the company's profitability. Announcing its results for the last financial year, Tassal says it expects production of prawns to nearly double in the next 12 months. Operational efficiencies also contributed to the lift in the profit. The company says a rise in Australians cooking at home during the pandemic has also helped demand.
North Launceston says Glenorchy is back to the side of old following the Pies' return to form. The Bombers are coming off a big win over the Tigers, where Jack Event claimed 35 touches in a best-on-ground performance. The coach says having statistics recorded this year has transformed the league.
It pushes our players, it promotes our players. If they have a really good game like Jack, we can put some data behind that, and it gives them a bit of a push. I think it's a really good thing.
You see such a logjam underneath the 2 Launceston teams. It's going to be a real dogfight all the way through, and we talked about that. We've talked about that the whole way, saying this is the year for the mentally tough teams.
Last time the sides met at KG5, it was a mudbath. Similar conditions are expected this time as well. To Premier League hockey now, Will Mulross and Ben Reid have combined to help University to a 3-2 win over Canterbury overnight. The victory made even sweeter with the side taking Canterbury's spot in the top 4. The 2 clubs remain winless in the Women's League after fighting out a 1-1 draw. Neither side can now make the finals, so they're battling to avoid the wooden spoon.
Good evening. Temperatures range from -1 at Mount Wellington to our top today of 15 in Hobart, Bushy Park, Ouse and Friendly Beaches. Launceston and Devonport 13, Burnie a high of 14, Smithton 14 as well, King Island, Low Head and St Helens 13, Flinders Island 12, Strawn 11, a few showers today too. Little more over the north and west. Overnight we had 15 millimetres at Strawn, in the 6 hours to 3 this afternoon 13 millimetres at Lake Margaret. The rain from the mixed cloud over the state, higher cloud over the east, lower level cloud moved over the west and south as the day progressed. Extensive cloud cover over the Bight and Victoria due to the low pressure cells over our region. Some high cloud over the WA coast. Tomorrow we see the low and cold front to our southwest. A high extends a ridge over central Australia, a trough over the far north. Winds west-southwesterly, so cool at 20 to 30 knots over most coastal waters, up to 25 knots over the east, swells to 2.5 metres in western waters. Strong wind warning, that's from Tasman Island clockwise to St Helens Point. We also have a minor flood warning for the South-Esk, Macquarie and Meander rivers, and a bushwalkers alert for the Western Forecast District. Hobart expecting 13 and a possible shower, same for Cygnet at 12 degrees the high and 12 for New Norfolk. Launceston, a top of 14 with early fog, partly cloudy for Devonport, 12 the high, morning fog for Campbelltown and 12 degrees. 11 for Burnie with a shower or 2, showery for Strawn, 11 and Smithton 13 degrees. St Helens a top of 15 and mostly sunny. Bit of cloud but fine over Swansea, 14 the top and 13 for Fingal. On Friday, showers extending across the state, but leaving the northeast partly cloudy. Showers on Saturday, possible hail, snow to 600 metres and cold southerly winds. And showers easing on Sunday, still clinging on over the west, south and east. Partly cloudy weather in Perth tomorrow, showers for Adelaide, Melbourne and Canberra, sunny but windy in Sydney and Brisbane. Few showers over Hobart, 11 at the moment. Partly cloudy for Launceston on 9 and Devonport 10 degrees. That's the midweek weather, Kim. Hope you liked it.
I didn't like the weekend forecast. Thanks, Murph. That is your news for now. I'll be back later with some updates. Thanks for your company tonight. Good night.